Okay folks, welcome back. This is your old pal Hondo doing another video for you fine folks. We're doing a video on what is better for fishing, either in freshwater or saltwater. I'll give you my opinion on 3 different styles of reels and what you could expect, what's the best for ease of use, what's the best for any water condition, freshwater or saltwater fishing. Now, mind you, but all 3 of these reels do have a saltwater version of their own counterparts. These are freshwater versions. So now these may not work for you in saltwater, but these are the examples I have to show you what you could possibly get for saltwater and for freshwater. Now these are the freshwater versions of the counterparts that we're going to show you. They do make them in different sizes and models. Starting off with probably what I think is the 3rd best fishing option out on the market for freshwater fishing, which is the Zebco 33 or the Zebco Bullet or the Brutus, Cast King Brutus 30, which is a good reel as well. Now the shortcomings of this reel is it has a low gear ratio of like 4:0 to 1. It has a lower gear ratio. It does have a lower style of drag, which is like around like 9 pounds compared to the 12 pounds or 11 pound drags on both of these other 2 reels. But that being said, if you get the right spin cast reel, you're going to get a really good performing reel like this one here. This is all metal body, all metal gears on the inside, very few plastic parts on the inside. This one does have a removable spool to where you could place another spool on it with heavier line if you need to. This is a really good reel if you're using a little bit lighter line, like 8-pound test for finesse fishing with like wacky rigs, you know, inline spinners, because the line comes off the spool no problem. You barely get any backlash with it or line twist with this reel. This reel was designed originally in the 1940s to be an anti-backlash reel and line twist reel, but you know, because of the shortcomings, you can't use braid with it, nor you could use monofilament and fluorocarbon with this reel effectively fine. But the shortcomings of this reel is it's slow, and you'll miss a lot of fish with this one. Plus that, being a low gear ratio, that's how you miss the fish with it. That too, you can't use braided line with this at all. If you start using braided line with this, you'll ruin the spinner cone, and you'll have to clean this one more often than the other 2 on the table here. But still effective reel if you get the right one. Now if you get like one of the cheaper ones that are not all that great, you're not going to get a good performing reel. So stick to the Zebco 33 Platinums, Bullet, or the Cast King Brutus, and you won't go wrong. That's my number 3 reel. Good for finesse fishing with lighter lures compared to the other 2. Good for open water fishing, not so much heavy structure fishing, but you know, pan fishing, walleye fishing's fine. You know, smallmouth bass fishing in rivers is good for this reel. Largemouth bass fishing as well, if you want to use it for that. Small ones, not very big ones, because you can only get so much heavy line on this. Like 10-pound test is the max on this, and 8-pound test and 6-pound test is what you want to put on this reel if you had to. All right, what I would say, my number 2 favorite reel for either saltwater fishing is the bait caster. Why I say that is because this reel here will make you pay for every cast. If you mess up, you will get a backlash on this reel like no other reel on the market. They do make these in like a 1000 series type of reel. They make them in a 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 8000 series of reels for either freshwater or saltwater fishing. This is more of a finesse type of casting reel for finesse fishing. One drawback I do have on these reels is that when you're trying to use like a lighter lighter weight setup for wacky rig fishing. It gives you a lot more issues with the backlash than say the spinning reel. So it's not really good for a finesse reel, but for like really clunky heavy baits like big spinner baits, big chunky chatter baits, big chunky freaking walking baits, just real big baits in general. Big Texas rigs, big Alabama rigs, stuff like that. This is what this reel excels at, because it's a very fast reel, and you need a little bit more weight to cast this one over the other two on the table. These are more finesse fishing. This is great for heavy type of bait fishing, heavy structure fishing. You could use braid, fluorocarbon, and monofilament if you want to. Heavier pound testage of it as well, and still casts effectively really well with them. Unlike this one here, the limitations of the spin cast reel is that you can't put no braid on those, not even the bullets. So you don't want to put braid on those. So that's where it's lacking with the spin cast reel. They're good reels, but you know, they're better for finesse fishing, bait fishing. I like using them for bait fishing because you can cast them out there, you can catch trout with them, bass, bluegill with no problem. But this one here is good for, you know, big clunky baits. But you know, the only drawback about this reel is if you cast it, or you're flipping and pitching it, and you let off your finger on the reel, you come back to cast it, and you hit the tip of your lure on something, it's going to blow this reel out, and it's going to make you pay for every cast, and if it does get a catastrophic backlash, this reel is unusable. So just remember that. Now, like I said, they do make a cylindrical reel, like a little round reel, like the C4 series, or the C5, C6, C7, C8 series from Abu Garcia, or the Daiwa cylindrical reels as well. You can use those in freshwater, and the bigger reels you can use in saltwater as well. Like I said, in combination with this reel, these two reels will be your two best bets for bass fishing, or, you know, saltwater series fishing, with either a bigger reel or with heavier lines. And that's the reason why I think the Baitcaster kind of makes it number two on my list of my favorite reels. Now, to me, the best reel and the most versatile reel out there on the planet is the spinning reel. I think the spinning reel is probably one of the best reels that money can buy. You can get a bigger series of reel for saltwater fishing, get a medium series reel for freshwater fishing as well. Like I said, it's up to you to get what size of reel you want for your fishing situation. To me, the spinning reel is a lot easier to maintenance than the Baitcaster, but pretty much on par with maintaining like the spin cast reel. Very easy to maintenance. It's a very forgiving reel. When you're casting it, the line just flows off of it, compared to, you know, the Baitcaster, where you need a little bit of weight to chunk the lure out when you're casting it. This one here is just flawless. Now, you do get line twists on these reels. That's a given. Every occasional cast you cast, you will get some line twist, sometimes inside the reel and outside the reel, depending on what type of line you're using and how much you overspool the reel. Sometimes you don't really want to overspool the reel. You want to spool it like right about there, never past the spool, because if you go past the spool on these, if you got it overspooled, it won't cast right. You'll get a lot of problems. This reel can cover a lot of different types of fishing. If you get a bigger one, you can use it for heavy structure fishing. A medium sized one like the 20, you can get it and use it for open water fishing. You could use 8-pound test on the 20s. You could use like 15 to 20 pound test on the 4,000 and 3,000 series reels. But like I said, this one here, it's encapsulated. It stays clean a lot better than the other two reels. This one will stay clean longer than this one without having to maintenance it. These two reels right here, the spin casting reel and the spinning reel, is basically the two best reels I think for finesse fishing with lighter lures, because you know when you cast it, the line just flows off the reel, and good gear ratio in some of these reels. You can get them up to 5-0 to 1, 6-0 to 1, and up. This one's I think 5-2 to 1, I believe, which is okay for like just bass fishing in a creek, but it's still one more gear ratio better than this one, and the drag on it's a lot better I think than the spin casting reel. The drag's good on this one here. I mean, you get a lot of gear ratio with these bait casters, like 7-8 to 1 or 6-4 to 1 sometimes, and they're a lot faster, and it kind of helps you, you know, horse the fish in a lot better. This is better for finesse fishing. It's easier to use. Pretty much anybody can learn on a spinning reel really quick on how to fish. They're both right to left, so in this one here and the spin casting reel are the only two reels that you can get an ambidextrous handle crank on, which is right to left. Unlike this one, you either have to buy it in a right-handy or a left-handy model, which can be very expensive, and it is what it is with a bait caster. So you get a lot of better options with this. You can use different types of lines with this one. That's